How many people know how badass a skier Becker really was? Thank you, EB. I just got back to town last night and spent most of my night going through photos. At one point in my life, I was aspiring to be a professional photographer, and the first photo I ever had published was Becker, Powder Magazine Photo Image. And that was the start of my photography career, and it was really just because Becker and I were skiing together every day, and he was a ripper and always had perfect form, and the photos I took of him were just, they were pretty much perfect every time. And, but really, you'll have to excuse me a minute. I made these notes quick, and I went through a bunch of photos last night, and it jogged my memory. My memory's not that great, apparently, because I saw photos of Becker and I ice climbing with Dan Gilchrist, and I forgot that even happened. There were so many times, there were so many incidents, so many things that him and I did together, and when we were in our 20s, and we've been reminiscing about it ever since. And it's really sad that the memories only exist in my head now, and I'd love to share them with all of you so that they can exist in the future. But I can't do it here because I would be here all night. There are so many memories and things we did together. But one of the things we did was we never took no for an answer. When Becker and I started skiing together, we wanted to ski everything, and everybody said, that's unskiable over there. That's unskiable over there. So Becker and I started carrying ropes and skiing everything. And we used them a few times. Most of the time it was just an anchor in our backpacks, but eventually we learned the lines and named a few of them. And Becker's responsible for a few names. And I'm not even looking at my notes here, so I'm way out of order. But since we're on that subject, most people don't think we're like new school. We're old school, right? However, remember when snowboarders started grabbing their snowboards? And we were like, well, we could grab our skis, right? Is that possible? All right, let's try it. So one of the first tricks we started doing was was what's now called a truck driver. But I had the really uncreative name of the double tit grab Zootnik, because the Zootnik was the, right? Everyone remember the Zootnik? If you're 40 or more? And then so we were like, well, let's grab it. It's right there in front of our face. So I came up with the brilliant name of double tit grab Zootnik. So Becker's like, all right, I'll try that. Bam! Becker grabs it. He's like, ooh, that's like driving a big rig. And he goes, it's like holding a big steering wheel. It's like driving a truck. So ever since then, we called it the truck driver. And some of you remember Josh Lubeck used to live here, worked for Freeze Magazine for a while. It was probably a couple years after Becker named that the truck driver that it was called that in Freeze Magazine. And to this day, it's still called a truck. Granted, today's kids are doing the truck in like a Corp 7. We were just straight air truck driving and thinking we were cool. But Becker was a pioneer, and we did all this shit together that was what nobody said could be done. And Becker was also the person that would, most of you probably know him from the bars, and he was a bartender at Levels. And he would come home at 4 in the morning from bartending. Anyone in the bar industry knows how much work there is to do when you're done working. And if it was a powder day, it didn't matter. Becker would get up at 7 in the morning, and after coming home at 4. And I wasn't going to talk about the Becker Shuffle, but I think the Becker Shuffle's in order. So I lived in the downstairs. Becker has been my landlord on and off for 20-something years, and I lived downstairs. So when Becker would come home at 4 in the morning, sometimes I could hear him going up the stairs. And back down a few and back up a few. And that was the Becker Shuffle. And I was always skeptical. Is he gonna wake up when I go bust in his bedroom door? It's snowing out, it's gonna be a powder day. Never once did Becker not get up for a powder day. And not only that, but he would come and ski with me all day, who had 6 hours of sleep on his 3, and who wasn't bartending all night, and ski as hard or harder than anyone all day. Becker was the man. And very few people know just how hard he ripped and how much he got done. And when I heard about Becker's leaving of this existence, I was down in the San Juan Mountains at a hut trip, and I was in a bubble. It was hard for me to comprehend. It was just wanted to wake up, have it all be a dream, but obviously we live in a linear life and can't go back in time and can't wake up from the dream anymore. But nothing's made me think about death and what happens when we die more than the last few days. Last couple weeks, we've lost too many friends in the last year. And it's a beautiful thought, right? To think about Bob Dickey and Kyle and Mike and Chris and Newt and Becker and Will and all those guys up there making turns or watching over us, and it's possible, right? Anything's possible. It's a beautiful thought, and it makes us feel better. But you know, religion's tried to answer these questions for us for years, right? Becker and I know I'm not religious. I don't think Becker was. I think the mountain was our church, and as the mountain was our church, we never, conquering mountains seemed absurd. We were never trying to conquer anything. We're simply trying to blend with the mountains, let them be enough one with the mountains, meld with the mountains enough that they would allow our passage. And I skied a lot of 14ers with Becker and Dan and Joe, and we had a lot of good times skiing mountains. So it felt apropos to be in the mountains skiing something new with Larry and Murph, and we skied a couloir that possibly has never been skied again, or before, and didn't have a name, and I don't know, I just, the Beck couloir is what I was referring to it, but it's got names already, but it felt really good. Anyway, so although not religious, religion makes an attempt to answer questions, and I actually think the mystery is the most beautiful part of it all. I have no idea. I don't know if Becker's here with us or watching over us. The Dalai Lama says death's nothing to fear, that it's just like a change of clothes. Maybe Becker's at the next level of life. He's at a higher level. Maybe not. What I do know is that Becker and his spirit will exist in my mind and heart for the rest of my life, and probably most of yours. And although I will mourn his death forever, I will do my damn best to celebrate his life and live to my fullest, as he certainly did. And I really hope you all do the same.